Welcome to Daily Focus. Just a little bit earlier than normal. I'm probably throwing some of you off. And some of you are so faithful to join me live, and I want you to know I do appreciate that. This morning we have a activity at the church, Super Seniors, and I'm going to be driving for that activity, so I need to be there at the time that I usually do the morning devotional. So I decided, you know what? I am just going to do it early, and we'll make this exception this morning. But we'll be back with it tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock. Well, we're going to finish up Proverbs chapter 22 today, and we've been looking at God describing what it looks like to be on the path of wisdom. Is it worth it to deny self and to stay in the will of God, to stay on the path of wisdom? And the answer is absolutely yes. Do you really miss out on anything? And the answer is no. The world doesn't have anything of any lasting value to offer us. My flesh has nothing to offer me of lasting value. That which is really going to bring fulfillment, that which is going to bring joy and peace, that which is going to be worth it, is the path of wisdom. And so God is describing that. And so today we have titled this one, Faithfulness Brings Fruitfulness. And when we stick with it and we just trust the Lord with all of our heart and we lean not on our own understanding, but acknowledge Him in all of our ways, He does direct our paths, but He also blesses and brings forth eternal fruit. And that fruit remains and brings forth more fruit. One of the greatest challenges and yet comforts of Scripture is that fruit will continue to bring forth fruit. The challenge is corrupt fruit will bring forth more corrupt fruit, but good fruit will bring forth more good fruit. And so it's maybe the greatest encouragement in parenting is let's do it God's way. Good fruit brings forth good fruit, and we want to make sure that we're staying on that path of wisdom, that we're teaching our children the path of wisdom, that we're teaching our grandchildren the path of wisdom, that we're modeling for those who are influenced by our lives the path of wisdom. So let's look at a couple of the illustrations. Verse 24. Make no friendship with an angry man, and with a furious man thou shalt not go, lest thou learn his ways and get a snare to thy soul. God warns here about a temper. He warns about selfishness on display. And we've referenced this oftentimes as we've gone through Proverbs, as God has addressed it now and again. But this idea of losing your temper is really just nothing more than a manifestation of immaturity. I mentioned sometimes immaturity is never more on display than at a church softball game. And grown men who have things that really matter in life will lose their testimony, lose their temper, get all worked up over nonsense, and it's a game, and it is not going to matter in the long run. And so God says, you know, somebody who can't rule his spirit, now you better be careful about their influence, because you will become like them if you hang around them. So it takes me back to Ephesians chapter 4, when God is giving to us all of these comparisons. And He says, lie not one to another, but speak the truth to your neighbor. Then He says, be angry and sin not, let not the sun go down upon thy wrath, neither give place to the devil. And then He says, those that steal no more, but give. Let no corrupt communication come out of your mouth, but that which is edifying. He just goes through this, grieve not the Spirit of God. He's going through all of these comparisons that we are not to have malice and corruption, but to be kind, tender-hearted, forgiving. Well, in that 26, Ephesians 4:26, it says, "Be ye angry and sin not, let not the sun go down upon your wrath, neither give place to the devil." I am convinced that we never put the devil in a better place to destroy us than when we are sinfully angry. And it's just, we are completely yielded to self. And God references that here. And he is saying, you know, if you want to give the devil a way to ruin your life and ruin your testimony and get you to do stupid things, then have a temper. And if you want to exalt God and you want to bring about good fruit, then choose wisely. Yield to the Spirit. Don't give in to your flesh. Don't do that. And he goes one step further here, and not only encouraging us to not do it, he says, but don't hang around people who can't rule their spirit. And so that's really an important part of being faithful. Faithful to walk in the Spirit, to walk the path of wisdom. And then he says, be not thou one of them that strike hands, or of them that are surety for debts. In other words, don't make agreements that you're going to pay someone else's debt. Don't put yourself in a vulnerable position. Now, I think that there are times when God asks you as a parent to help your kids. I think there are times when good friends, he's just talking about a general principle where you are going around becoming responsible for someone else's responsibility. And he says, you know, be very careful about that. And then he says, if thou hast nothing to pay, why should he take away thy bed from under thee? He's talking about this same thing, that you put yourself in a position where you can't cover somebody else's debt. You're the one that's going to be in trouble. I mean, he's coming after your house, he's coming after your car, he's coming after your accounts. And so we have to be very careful about that. And then the last two verses says, remove not the ancient landmarks which thy fathers have set. Seest thou a man diligent in his business? He shall stand before kings. He shall not stand before mean men. That word mean men, it really gives the idea that a person who is wise in his business, wise with his not just his business or his business sense or his ability to create profit, but a man of integrity who builds a good business name, who builds a business that's known for its character and how it conducts itself, not just its ability to be profitable, but its ability to communicate fairness and fruitfulness. And it's just, they do good business. They do things the right way, and they treat people right. This person who is able to do that is going to influence people of influence. That's just the way it is that is something that is contagious, and people admire it, and you have an influence over kings and even politicians. And that word mean men really is the people of obscurity, people who really don't have influence. And so it is saying there that you're not going to necessarily have an influence over people who are just moseying along, but you're going to, if you conduct yourself with character on the path of wisdom, you're actually going to influence people of influence. And God is teaching us all of these principles, and he's basically saying this: listen, there is a way, there is the right way, and it's the path of wisdom. And if you're faithful to that, I will give you fruit, and it will be worth it. And so stay on the path of wisdom. I hope you have a great day today. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you again tomorrow morning.